So you're thinking about moving to the southeastern Idaho area, but you're not sure if you should move to POCATELLO or Idaho Falls or some of the surrounding areas. Well, in this video, I'm going to talk about the differences between POCATELLO and Idaho Falls. Without further ado, let's go. All right, so what's the difference? Idaho Falls, POCATELLO, aren't they kind of the same? How far away are they? They're not the same, but they're close. Let's start with Idaho Falls. Idaho Falls is one of the bigger cities. It is the biggest city in southeastern Idaho. I believe it's the 4th or 5th biggest city in Idaho as a whole. But to give you a reference, Boise's got over 200,000 people and Idaho Falls has about 67,000 people. So it's not as big as Western, or not as populated as Western Idaho, but southeastern Idaho, Idaho Falls is the biggest city. And if you include Ammon, which is practically the same area, it increases to almost 90,000 people in this area. So that's population. POCATELLO has about 58,000 people as of 2022, I believe. And so they are a little bit smaller. But there's something interesting about POCATELLO is that you have you're a little bit closer to the mountains. You've got bigger mountains than we do here in Idaho Falls. You have to drive a little bit to get to the mountains. I think they're more like hills here in Idaho Falls. POCATELLO I would describe as mountains. And so you have hikes and trails throughout POCATELLO, really super close, which is really neat if you're wanting the more hilly, mountainous landscape. Idaho Falls, I think, is more flat. People say we have mountains here, but we do. I mean, I can see them out the window. We have, but to me, they're hills. So there's a little difference. Idaho Falls, with it being bigger, it does have 2 Walmarts, it's got a mall, and it has some really big companies here like Melaleuca and the International Laboratory. So big employers here, a lot of businesses are getting started here, and a lot of people are flooding to the Idaho Falls area. POCATELLO used to be a railroad town, so it's got more blue collar type jobs there, and it's not as busy with things as Idaho Falls. Again, they're pretty comparable. The other difference between POCATELLO and Idaho Falls is POCATELLO is a little bit less expensive. It's a little bit less in cost of living than Idaho Falls. For example, if the median price for Idaho Falls was $390,000 for a house, then in POCATELLO it would be a little bit less, around $340,000 for the median. It's close, it's comparable, and just because that's the median doesn't mean we can't find something in that price range in Idaho Falls or vice versa, but the cost of living housing-wise tends to be a little bit less, and that's the same with renting as well. POCATELLO might be a little bit less with renting. The other difference that I saw was, even though POCATELLO is only about 50 minutes south of Idaho Falls, depending on where you are, it could be 40, could be an hour, but it's hotter. It's strange, but it's hotter. So on a day where it's 87 degrees in Idaho Falls, it's going to be near 100 degrees in POCATELLO. So there is something weird with the weather just 40, 50 minutes away where POCATELLO is hotter. So if you don't do well in the heat like me, Idaho Falls might be a little bit better. In regards to snow, it just depends on how the storm moves. Sometimes POCATELLO gets more snow, sometimes Idaho Falls gets more snow. So overall, they're pretty comparable. They're both smaller towns. They've got a cute, eclectic downtown. There's some fun shops and really fun activities. You've got the art scene in both towns. You've got hiking and outdoorsy things in both towns. You've got a little ski resort in both towns. So they're very, very similar. I would say the biggest difference is it's a little bit hotter in POCATELLO. It's a little bit smaller. You don't have as many resources as you do in Idaho Falls, like the businesses, the malls, the second Walmart if you need 2 Walmarts, and of course that cost of living difference, but it really just depends on what you're looking for. So I hope that helps. There's some other little differences that we can look at, but it just depends on what you need specifically or what you're interested in. And my name is Annika Wilder, and if you want to know more things about southeastern Idaho, you want to know the good, the bad, the pros, the cons, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, and you'll be the first to know about all of those things, including the real estate market as well. And I'd love to be your go-to source for all things real estate, all things southeastern Idaho, just give me a call, text, shoot me an email, or even schedule Zoom. I'd be happy to help. If you're new to my channel and you want to know all there is to know about Idaho Falls and the surrounding area, I'm talking the good, the bad, the weird, the weather, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, and you'll be the first to know about all things happening right here in Idaho Falls and the surrounding area.